Hello my dorks, it's the Dorkover here, and welcome back to another ranking video, or top 10 list, whichever you want to call it. Today we're going to be doing a unique kind of video, that I've been planning to do for a little while now, but I didn't get the spare time and the thoughts to do it until now. So today we are tackling a very weird kind of top 10 list, or top 5 list, whatever you want to call it. It is my 5 opinions on 5 stories / creepypastas that I can't narrate on the channel or don't want to narrate. I'm sure some of you may have been asking and wondering where these particular stories on the list will show up on the channel, but for the time being, I cannot cover them. Now this list is always subject to change, so some of these stories may be available for me to cover in the future, but at the time of recording this, they are not. I don't have any hate towards these stories, well, except for like 1 or 2 and you'll see later. But honestly, it's just for inconvenience or for other reasons of which I can't upload them. So, let's get on to the number 5 spot. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we have Sweet Apple Massacre. Now I'm sure if you've been in the creepypasta / grimdark community, you would have heard of this story before. And before we go any further, I despise this story, so you don't have to worry about me having some kind of admiration, because this story is a pile of shit and should have never been created, ever. I am not even going to discuss what this story is about, it is too morbid. And I found this out because I heard about this story a ton in the creepypasta community back in the day, but fortunately I don't think I've ever properly read it, and I will never properly read it. It is that bad, ladies and gentlemen. And I've tackled stories like the Russian sleep experiment, which got very dark and very morbid. So if I'm willing to cover that, but not willing to cover Sweet Apple Massacre, then you know that it's a totally bad ride which I do not recommend at all. But if you're curious, the story is out there in its entirety. I do warn you, however, because it seriously is not for the faint of heart. I cannot emphasize that enough. So yeah, I despise it, and if I ever was to rank it, which I never will, it would get a 0 out of 10, easily. There's no redeeming quality in that story. It's an insult to be called a story, it's disgusting. So yeah, terrible. Let's go on to the number 4 spot. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have 1999. Now this is a story I've heard a ton of when I was a kid. I only really heard it through summaries, however. Apparently the actual story is a very long one. I don't have the time to read it in its entirety. But from what I can remember, it was alright. There are some other stories that are better than it, but there's also a ton of stories that are worse than it. But it is definitely a classic. Now why can't I cover this on the channel? Simple. Because it's copyrighted to hell. I really wanted to cover this story so badly on the channel, but I can't because my channel would get absolutely annihilated by copyright strikes. But just so you know, I actually really like the story, it's decent. I would give it probably a 7 out of 10, but this is very loosely because I haven't really fully read the story. I only get the gists of it from the summaries I've heard. Like how it was a morbidly messed up TV show, with shorts like Playing with Scissors, where a hand would stab another hand with a pair of scissors repeatedly, while a muffled child scream could be heard. Or Mr. Bear's Cellar, where an old guy dressed up as Mr. Bear lured kids in and did things so horrible I'm not even going to mention them here. But it's pretty good. Still wish I could cover it on the channel. Let's make our way to the number 3 spot. Coming in at the number 3 spot, we have Cupcakes, and I guess Rocket to Insanity can also apply here as well. Now these are both My Little Pony creepypastas, and while they're both very iconic in the general community of creepypastas, I probably won't be able to cover them for a while, if not at all, because of reasons, and because of specific people. Well, you won't know who they are, but it's fine. So, what are my opinions on these stories? Pretty simple. Cupcakes, I despise. Too bloody, too gory, too nonsensical, and just overall too cliched for my own enjoyment. Rocket to Insanity, slightly better than Cupcakes. It does go super gory towards the end. However, I kinda like the little twist. Like how the Cupcake story is actually a dream that Rainbow Dash is having. And the ending. Was Pinkie really going to kill Rainbow Dash before Rainbow Dash killed her? Think about it. We never knew if that cupcake that she handed Dash was actually laced with the sleeping pills that knocked her out, and then obviously killed her. We never know. As for the ratings on both of these stories, Cupcakes gets a 2, Rocket to Insanity gets a 5. Pretty standard. Let's go on to the number 2 spot. Taking the silver medal for number 2, we have Sally, or Play With Me, I believe the creepypasta is called. Now I will never, ever, never, never cover the story on the channel. It is too messed up, and too sad. I refuse to cover this story, because frankly, because of the content that's contained within the story, which I will not be discussing, but if you want to see some little bits of it that I was able to discuss, go into the first part of my creepypasta iceberg video. Frankly, I think it's an insult to anybody who has gone through that kind of assault before. It's terrible, and I have no idea why the author would write a story that morbid. But anywho, if you want me to cover this story, just forget it, because I'm not doing it. It's my channel, and I do what I want. So if by some miracle or some crazy reason this is one of your favourite stories, I'm sorry to disappoint you. But anyways, let's move on to the number 1 spot before I tear my hair out at just the thought of this. Coming in at the number 1 spot, sadly, we have nearly all the stories that have a female character in it that speaks a lot. Simply because I don't have a female voice actress to help me. That's consistent and, has decent microphone audio. This limits quite a few stories, plus, I did want to have a female actress on the channel at some point, spread the diversity around. But I'm not going to be like one of those stupid people who just promotes diversity and hates anybody for having a different opinion. But I'd like to have a girl on the channel, do some voice acting. I think it would contrast rather well with my voice to see, obviously, a female's voice bounce off of mine. So I guess, any ladies in the audience who has good microphones and has had experience with narration, if you want to do a collab, hit me up in the comments or email me. My email is in the About section on my channel. So yeah, I'm sad to say that right now at this moment, I can't cover any stories that predominantly feature a female side character, or female character in general, that talks a lot. Because I don't want to have to voice a girl, guys. That's not happening. Anyways, if you enjoyed this top 5 list and you'd like to see some more, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. It's free and you can always unsubscribe later. I think that's what all the big YouTubers say when they have millions of subs but yet still beg for more. Could be wrong. But really I am going for 1,000 subs and any support from anybody would be appreciated. Alright, have a good night everybody. See you later.